Ladies and gentlemen, hit subscribe to this channel right now. You're going to hear former President Donald Trump give his analysis of Nikki Haley's campaign. She's essentially dropped out of the primary on Saturday Night Live and CNN with the most absurd, very bizarre, almost Orwellian appearances. We'll get to that a little later. We'll get to those appearances. Hit subscribe. 3 Republicans in blue states decided to completely destroy the impeachment of Mayorkas, but that's the inept, ineffective, weak Republican Party that Trump has to deal with. Hit subscribe to this channel to read my writing on The Hill, The Huffington Post, Salon, The Jerusalem Post, The Federalist, other publications. Go to hagoodman.com. Let's get started. This is a little bit of Trump. I'll show you several different speeches. And to my super chat, by the way, your support is greatly appreciated. This is Trump on Nikki Haley. Very interesting analysis from the former president. We'll get to why she essentially dropped out a little later in a couple of minutes. But hit subscribe, super chat, so important. Thank you so very, very much. If you're new to the channel, thank you for watching. Here we go.
Harris poll, we lead the primary field by more than 50 points, just came out.
By the way, really quickly, really quickly. General election, Trump, mashed potato. Trump up 2.1 nationally, okay? That's without any media support. We'll get to that in a second. Let's get back to former President Donald Trump.
With Trump at 61 and DeSanctimonious at 11. And Bird Brain is at 6. Does anybody know who Bird Brain is? He said, hey, you can have her. I will never run against our president. He's one of the greatest presidents we've ever had. I will not run against our president under any circumstances. 4 months later, I'd like to announce my candidacy. What kind of people are these? These politicians out there. What kind of people do you have here? Ben, you're not that way. Ben is not that way. Better not be that. I'm not going to fight. But no, what kind of people are these? She's been proclaiming for so long that she would never run. I was a great president. You know, I put her in charge of the United Nations. Now, I must say, within the confines of this room on a Sunday, one of the reasons I did it was I happened to love the Lieutenant Governor of South Carolina. And we moved him. Henry McMaster, he's great. He's a great guy. So he became governor. So I liked it. I got 2 for the price of 1. I moved her over there. She was fine. But the big thing is she said I'd never run, and then she announced that she's going to run. She said it many times. I will never run against our president. He was a great president. Then she goes, I'd like to announce my candidacy. So we hit her hard. But Bird Brain, I call her Bird Brain. Highly overrated. She's a very highly overrated person. But DeSanctimonious is really overrated. Did anybody ever see anybody fall? I think it's got to be one of the worst campaigns in history.
So, ladies and gentlemen, first off, Peanut the Butter, thank you! Greatly appreciated. Very, very kind of you. Peanut the Butter, greatly appreciated. And DM. That's right, probably by 30 points. DM, thank you. Peanut the Butter, DM, thank you so very, very much. Look, we're going to have the channels finally moving, and I said I was going to play it safe, but you know what? I'm playing it safe, and it's growing. The channel is growing. Peanut the Butter and DM, thank you so very, very much to my super chat. Thank you. We're at 205 subs, ladies and gentlemen. 205,000 subscribers, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. You gotta watch. Now, I'm not a big believer in individual polls, although aggregate polls, in this case, Trump is up by a lot more than 2.1 points nationally. Unfortunately, I think we'll have a devastating stock market crash, and subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel that's part of this network, H.A. Goodman group of channels. But it's this channel and two others, the Bitcoin crash channel, the stock market crash channel, which I'm going to continue to, well, I'm going to start growing very soon. Unfortunately, I believe we'll have a terrible Biden Democrat Party fueled crash. Democrat Party fueled crash. But Trump is going up against all of media, even Nikki Haley, who basically dropped out of contention. You go on SNL, you go on CNN, and you're not doing yourself any good. Now, if Trump is up 2.1 over Biden, Nikki Haley would be losing by 5 or 6 points to mashed potato brains if it was only Nikki Haley. Okay? Mashed potato brains or any Democrat, the California governor would defeat Nikki Haley. Trump would easily defeat not only the California governor, but the current president, the current occupant, mashed potato. So, I mean, you just got to do the math. If he's up by 2.1 and you have a public relations poll right here with a 6-point Biden, so how does Trump up 1, up 4, up 5, but there's a poll that shows Biden up 6? That's because if they don't release those types of polls, Biden is eventually down by 5, 6, 7, 8. Mitchie Cool! Hello! Tulsi Gabbard as VP would be the best, I think. I love Tulsi Gabbard. I think she's fantastic. I think Senator Tim Scott would make the best pick in my humble view. Let's get back to President Trump.
He was supposed to be young. He's this, that. He's going to be the future of the party. After people see him make about 3 speeches, that's the end of him. In the latest Ipsos poll of the general election, we're demolishing crooked Joe Biden 49-43. In the Washington Post, we're beating him by 11. Wasn't that a great one? Did you see it last week? Washington Post comes out that we're leading by 9, then they had to correct that to 10, then they had to correct it to 11 or something. But they said, this must be an outlier. This is an outlier. They spend $1 million in a poll, and they're trying to say, the poll is wrong, it's got to be wrong. I think their poll is right.
So, you look, ladies and gentlemen, and how many points would Nikki Haley be down to Biden? And she's going to lose by 30 points in South Carolina. Okay, South Carolina is February 24th. Nevada is in 2 days. South Carolina is February 24th. Okay, you lose by 30 points in your home state. I mean, why would you? You're going on CNN and you are trying to align yourself with people who despise Republicans, not just Trump. And every single Republican or anyone that goes after Trump, even world leaders, suddenly they become the best friends of Democrats. But hit subscribe to this channel if you're new. Let's get to more of Trump giving his analysis of a really failed Haley campaign. Nikki Haley will have an even more miserably failed campaign than DeSantis, who had an absolutely terrible campaign. DeSantis should never have run. He should never have run. He should have waited. If Tim Scott becomes Trump's vice president, then Senator Tim Scott, I believe, is the #1 Republican in 28. But here you go. Let's listen to Trump on Nikki Haley.
So what I want to do is I want to just tell you, it's very simple. We have to get out. We have to take back our country. We have a country that's in such bad shape. We have to take it back. Nikki Haley is a disaster. She worked for me for a long time. I mean, I know it very well. I actually put her there for a different reason. I shouldn't say this, but you had a lieutenant governor named Henry McMaster who was fantastic. I figured if I took her out of South Carolina governorship, put her someplace, any place, I put her someplace, then Henry McMaster, who was my friend and who's turned out to be a great governor in South Carolina, Henry McMaster would become the governor. So I moved her to the United Nations. And honestly, she was not a good negotiator. Now she likes to talk about when I negotiated with China, I negotiated with China. I did all of it. We got in hundreds of billions of dollars, and I did it. And, you know, she has a hit on Social Security. You know, she wants to raise the age very substantially. You don't need that. We don't want to do that. And we have that liquid gold. We don't have to do that to our seniors. You earned it. You're right. Who said that? That's a good point. You earned it. You did earn it. And you don't need that. And the same thing with Medicare. They want to obliterate it. We're not going to do that. So I say this. Get out and vote. And make sure we win by big margins. The bigger the margin, the bigger the mandate that we have, the stronger we're going to be. And I mean strong, not just for the next state, because the next state is Nevada, and we're leading by 90 points. So, I mean, unless you had a catastrophic event, I think that's in good shape. And then we go to South Carolina, we're leading by a lot. And then we're leading by everything, by everywhere you go. But I'm talking about November. We have to win. Let's send the word to the other side. They're very.
You have three Republicans. The Republican Party itself is so weak. And I'm conservative on the Second Amendment. A lot of things now. I'm far more conservative. And I have a more, well, you could say conservative means I'm against never-ending military conflict. That's what conservative is. Liberal or progressive or far left is fine, no problem with never-ending military. It's not a deal breaker. They'll vote for Biden forever. They don't care if the Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld neoconservatives vote for Biden. Nikki Haley is George W. Bush has a favorable has a decent favorability rating within the Democratic Party. He's viewed in a favorable light. That's what has taken place. It's become purely a political party of groupthink, where you have militant, you have people who pretend they're the most empathetic, morally superior people who actually don't care about never-ending military conflict. Trump does. Trump is a far more ethical and moral person than anyone in the Democratic Party. Biden, President Obama, Clinton, Kerry literally destroyed countries with their decisions. Libya being the country under President Obama's administration. Okay? So, what country did Trump destroy? None. What country did President Obama? Did Bush, Cheney, Rumsfeld? A number of countries. A number of countries. And so, what country did Trump send Americans to for never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts? None. But you had the Nikki Haley Republicans sending Americans to never-ending military conflict, to places where you had to win hearts and minds, just like in Vietnam, and we didn't learn the military lessons or the moral or the ethical lessons. Trump did, which is why his foreign policy saw him as the first president to step foot in North Korea. We had record low poverty with Trump. There's a zero rebuttal to that. We had record highs in household median income. Fact. Zero rebuttal. That's why he's up. I love watching Patrick Bet-David. He's fantastic. He went on Bill Maher. Do you know the only thing that Bill Maher could say? I like Bill Maher, but you know the only thing that Bill Maher could say? That Trump was going to nuke a hurricane. So therefore, that's the reason to vote for Biden or California's governor. And Patrick Bet-David said, well, what did the governor do that would make you vote Bill Maher for him? Well, Trump would nuke a hurricane. That's the only thing they have. Trump would sell the planet to Mars. He would sell the earth to Martians. That's the only thing Democrats or lifelong liberals have, is their apoplectic view that Trump is capable of anything. But we had record low poverty with Trump. We had record highs in household median income. Millionaires, or I should say, like billionaire recording artists now, or hundreds of millions of dollars, Snoop Dogg, 50 Cent, they're all saying, you know what, we're going to vote for Trump now. Because they look at the economy. People look at the economy and they say, okay, you know what? And then Bill Maher said, oh, inflation is down. Inflation is down, Mr. Maher, because interest rates to buy a new home are 7 to 8%. Bill Maher's not buying a home. Like, he's not like a 30-year-old with a wife and kids buying a home. So you can't do that now, especially like if the mortgage is $1.5 million, forget it. Million, forget it. With 7 to 8% mortgage rates. That's why inflation's at 3 something and it's still going up, and actually it's a lot higher. But let's continue. I mean, Patrick Bet-David was brilliant, and all Bill Maher said was Trump's going to nuke a hurricane. We had record low poverty with Trump. We had record highs in household median income. We had the Doha Agreement that Biden completely botched. And then Bill Maher said, oh, well, he had the guts. Biden didn't have the guts. He was forced to do what Trump negotiated, and he did it in a haphazard manner. Those Americans should be alive today. That was 1,000% this administration's fault. And there were Afghans who should be alive too. It was completely haphazard without any thought to it. That's why Americans lost their lives. There were stipulations, a May 1st, 2021 withdrawal, a May 1st. It was not a haphazard summer withdrawal. But although Bill Maher is very smart, he doesn't know these things about the Doha Agreement. He doesn't know a lot of these things. He doesn't know what the Steele dossier is. He doesn't know, anyway, let's continue.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. And outside, I don't know if you know what's going on. This place is packed. There's more.
This is in Vegas, by the way. A couple days from now, Nikki Haley's not even running in Vegas, so he's going to obviously run away with it. But you have Nikki Haley not even running in Vegas, going on SNL, CNN. She's basically dropped out and going to lose by 30 points in South Carolina. It's going to be about 25 to 35 points she'll lose.
More people outside trying to get it. So if anybody wants to leave, please leave. And does anybody volunteer to leave now? Now we have close to 3,000 people outside trying to get in on top. So thank you very much, and thank you, Michael. I'm thrilled to be back in Las Vegas with thousands and thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. That's what you are. As you know, 2 weeks ago in Iowa, we had a great time in Iowa. 40 degrees below zero. We won the Iowa caucuses by the largest margin in the history of the caucus. Thank you. Thank you. Very enthusiastic people.
He won by the largest margin ever, and then the ladies at The View and on CNN said, well, you know what? Not everyone in Iowa voted. Yeah, it was one of the primaries. What do you want? Yeah, we know that not everyone voted. And guess what? Not every American votes. You can add it up. It was about 150 million Americans. It wasn't 320 plus million. So what's your point? And mashed potato brains got that with every single conceivable advantage, including 50 Intel officials that came out of nowhere and said, "Oh, Hunter's laptop." If Trump had Hunter's laptop in 2018, 2019, he would never have been impeached the first time, because he would have had the reason we already knew existed to ask, "Oh my God, another country. Gee, you think maybe Biden's corrupt?" Oh. Trump, impeach. He's trying to interfere with a phone call. And then they indict Trump under 100 criminal charges with Democratic prosecutors or a special counsel from Biden's DOJ after Mueller found nothing, and that's not interference at all.
No, they're friends. They're friends.
Attention, did you
Nicholas, thank you again. Nicholas, as always, my God, Nicholas, thank you. Thank you so much. Nicholas Orm, thank you so much for gifting so many memberships. Thank you. Can't thank you enough, Nicholas.
Thank you very much. No, they're actually friends, enthusiastic friends. Then earlier this week, we had a spectacular victory in New Hampshire. We shattered the all-time record for the number of votes cast from either party. It has never happened in the entire history of the New Hampshire primary. We got the most votes ever gotten by anybody. That's a good sign. And I'm proud that we're the first non-incumbent, and remember this, look at this, in either party to win both. Think of this, Iowa and New Hampshire. We won them both quite easily, thank you. And now we're going to have an even bigger victory right here in Nevada. Perhaps the most astounding of all is we achieved our monumental victory in New Hampshire despite the fact that more than 50% of the voters were not even Republican, you know? They were Democrats and independent. That was a setup, and we still won by a record margin. Over 70% of the votes cast. Oh, wow. I didn't even know this fact. Did you hear this? 70% of the votes cast for Nikki Haley. Did anybody ever hear of her? Bird brand. Nikki. You know, the Republican Party wanted to nominate me and just say, skip the whole thing, and we're just going to give you our nomination. I said, don't do that. Don't do that. I want to win it the fair way. Pretty easy way, too, because we're leading by so much. But over 70% of the votes cast for Nikki Haley on Tuesday came from outside of the Republican Party. They came from outside. She got about 24%, 25% Republican votes because they had liberals interfering on behalf. They had Democrats voting. They had everybody voting, and we still won by a lot. That was the one shot.
So there you have it. I mean, she will endorse Trump. It's almost as if she's doing this on purpose to make Trump look good. She's almost endorsing him in some kind of subliminal manner. The absurdity of all of this, where Nikki Haley is going on Saturday Night Live, it must be to highlight the fact that Trump is so much better than the average Republican. Because you look at Saturday Night Live, and I mean, you see the disrespectful manner that they've treated Senator Tim Scott. I mean, it's like liberals or progressives or left-leaning people love diversity, but they don't love diversity of thought. You can be diverse, but you better think exactly like Democrats. And if you don't, you're excommunicated. See, that's a cult. See, I have friends and family who vote Biden. I don't care. I'm not in a cult. I vote Trump specifically because I don't care about groupthink. I've lost friends who disown me because I voted Trump. The cult is if you surround yourself only with Democrats and you disown friends. You have no friends who are Trump supporters, yet he got 70 plus million Americans. Sorry. That's not, you're the one in the very harmful groupthink, a very rigid, a cult-like paradigm of thought. Okay? They say they use that word because they can't imagine how anyone would break the mainstream media narrative about Trump. But Trump, we had a great economy. What is wrong with a great economy? We had record low poverty, record highs in household median income. Inflation was far less than 3%. It was less than 3%, but without the interest rates. And we had unemployment at record lows without the interest rates. See, when Democrats say, initially they said there was no inflation problem, then they passed the Inflation Reduction Act. So which one is it? Then before they said, "Oh, there's no problem with the border." Now they're having the bill that had the House rejected. And then you have 3 Republicans in blue states. Is like, okay, you're not doing anyone any good. You're not going to get reelected because even the moderate Republicans in your district are going to say, okay, you prevented a political consequence for utter failure. Okay, the Homeland Secretary is supposed to protect this country, or at least supposed to protect lives in both countries. People are losing their lives. More people lost their lives under Biden. But you see AOC who cares? No. It's all theater for Democrats. Had they listened to Trump, Trump wanted to, and you could look right here, I'll show you, ladies and gentlemen, Trump offered Dreamers a path to citizenship. Yes. Yes, Trump. Trump, and I'm going to continue to show people this. Okay? He offered a path to citizenship for Dreamers. Democrats said no. We would have had a path to citizenship for Dreamers. I have friends who are Dreamers. I'm conservative on a lot of things, but I want Dreamers to be citizens. They, basically born here. And he offered. This is Reuters, and there's a bunch of articles. Democrats said no, and they haven't offered a path to citizenship. They don't care because they want to include a million other things into a bill, and then say, "Oh yeah, we really care." So that's the issue, ladies and gentlemen. The issue is that Trump was not what media lied by omission. Every single day, they lied by omission. The lie by omission oftentimes is just as detrimental as an overt lie. Okay, when you talk about how Trump's a xenophobe, oh, he's a bigot. Well, then why did he offer Dreamers a path to citizenship? And had we listened to him, we wouldn't have the human rights catastrophe at the southern geographic region of our country. Let's continue.
The message from the voters of our party is clear. It's time to finish this primary and get going and defeating. And you remember this. We all call it a primary, but I like calling it a caucus because it really is. Your primary vote doesn't mean anything. It's your caucus vote. So in your state, you have both a primary and you have a caucus. Don't worry about the primary. Just do the caucus thing. And we're going to go on to defeat crooked Joe Biden, and we're going to very simply make America great again. Make America great again.
I don't.
So it's very important to remember that, you have a big thing coming up. Don't waste your time on primary. Waste all of your time on caucus and letting drugs, crime, and from all over the world. We have more open wound is good for our country. And even politically, why is it good politically? First of all, with the Hispanic, to all of my people, I said, catch and release in Mexico. I imitated him. He finishes his speech. His speeches last for about 3 minutes because, his gasoline sort of runs out a little bit. It's a little bit like an electric car, isn't it? It doesn't go far. Doesn't go far. Got a couple of problems. Doesn't go far. No, but he finished his speech, and I did this great imitation. The way he always points, like, huh. And then he walks in a different direction. But I did it. He goes like, huh. And then...
And, they try to say, like Nikki Haley did too, which is really stupid. They try to say, oh, he has cognitive issues. Anything that Biden has actually, or Democrats. Oh, he has conflicts of interest too, just like Hunter, Jared Kushner. It's like, no, Kushner was a billionaire before, just like Biden, or his family was. And he was making, huge deals in terms of hundreds of millions of dollars or purchasing newspapers. I mean, he was wealthy before, okay, providing consulting work before, okay. He doesn't have a laptop. Kushner never had a laptop. Neither did any of the Trump kids that showed bribery and graft schemes, where literally the New York Post wrote from that company that was paying Hunter, how can you use your influence to help us? It's literally an email. How can you use your influence on behalf of the company? Could you imagine Trump showing that laptop to all the academics? Because you had only academics and government officials who turned on Trump. There was zero direct evidence he withheld anything for political gain. And then they still got the armament, which is typical, like American political establishment. They pin everything on Trump, and they only assign the most negative, they think he's capable of anything. And when they actually caught with a laptop full of incriminating data, they then get 50 intelligence officials and say, oh yeah, that is the Kremlin. And everyone knows what's going on. He would never have been impeached in the first time had they not had the laptop been around, because it shows obvious graft schemes. That's why 50 intel officials said it was the Kremlin that wanted to interfere. Anything negative to Democrats is another country interfering. I mean, that's what a despot does. That's what authoritarians do. But then you have, he has cognitive abilities. Anyone can, misstate something, or, forget where they are for a second, or forget the city name if you're traveling to 30 cities or 30 different towns within a state. Okay, whatever. They say that Trump forgot, a name. The man speaks for an hour straight, okay? Biden doesn't ever speak for more than 5-10 minutes. And when he does, it's like, oh my God, this is amazing. And he creates, there was one word he created, the pressure. He made up the word. It's just, he made it up. He just made up the word, and it ended with the word pressure. He just made up the word, and nobody was like, okay. Democrats care about only one thing: political power. Republicans actually enjoy losing, like you saw today with the Mayorkas impeachment. Only Trump stands for actual achievement, results, policies. Had we listened to Trump with the wall, we wouldn't have the problems we have now. They would be there to a lesser degree. We would not have the inflation that we have under Biden. We would not have the interest rates through the roof. We would not have two major global catastrophes, possibly a third with Taiwan now and China. So, I mean, it's like the man doesn't get any credit, and it's like the only thing, if you watch that Patrick Bet-David and Bill Maher interview, the only thing Bill Maher could say is that, he's going to nuke a hurricane. It's like, what? Just because you think he's capable of anything, because you've never actually listened to any of his speeches, or you imagine that he is this deranged lunatic, so you don't trust him. But that's a very sophomoric way of trying to cloak your true intentions, which are, you'll find anything because your team, the tribalism is that you are a Democrat forever. You will never vote Republican, no matter how bad the Democrat is. You're in a cult with that mentality. Because if it's RFK Jr. and he's independent versus Nikki Haley, I'm voting RFK Jr. Or Tulsi Gabbard, if she was still a Democrat, I'd vote for her over Nikki Haley. I mean, I would rather have Trump, I'd rather Tulsi Gabbard too. I'd rather have also RFK Jr. Vivek is awesome, but on the national stage, I'm not voting for just any Republican. I'm voting for Trump because he's a great president. You'd have to be an imbecile not to realize he did great things. You can't name one great thing that Biden did. Tell me one great thing. Doha Agreement, Abraham Accords, first president to step foot in North Korea, gave more money to HBCUs than any president ever, signed the First Step Act, moved the embassy to Jerusalem, very important for people like myself, very important, very good thing, okay? And you want to talk about U.S. national security, it's like, well, the United States gives billions to almost every country in that region. That's a whole other story, okay? And hundreds of billions to, we've seen in Europe, without one Democrat saying anything, or one liberal or one progressive saying anything. Or at least the pundits. But anyway, the point is, he presided over record low poverty, record lows in unemployment, record highs in household median income, real wages were up. 2019 was an amazing year. His last year in office, the Democratic-run states like New York and New Jersey, they have the worst of you-know-what. And then more people lost their lives under Biden's first year. So Nikki Haley, it's like, she's almost endorsing Trump by doing all of this. Or at least she is bringing more people to vote for Trump.
Thank you. And then a handsome Secret Service agent, one of these handsome guys, the Secret Service is great. They run up on stage and...
Vander Guy, hello. HA, stop being Bloods of Dreamers. They're a Praetorian Guard. No such, no compromise. Only when we take it. Vander Guy, appreciate your thoughts. I appreciate your thoughts. I appreciate your support for the channel. I respectfully disagree. I think if you're born here, in fact, interestingly enough, the Dreamers that I know don't even like Biden. They're actually they would vote for Trump. They actually like Trump. A lot of people who Democrats think like them actually like Trump, but I appreciate it. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it. Vander Guy, thank you.
They pretend like everything's normal. You know, like, oh, it's right over here, sir. Right over here. I got that. No. He's negotiating with Putin and with Kim Jong-un. I mean, think of it. He's negotiating with President Xi of China. Think of it. Kim Jong-un, North Korea, he's negotiating. I did a good job with Kim Jong-un. We had a very good relationship. People don't like it when I say that. But we were very safe when I was your president. You're not safe now. But you're very close to a third world war. And, you know, the bombs are starting to drop all over the Middle East again.
So he was much better on the world stage because he was willing, through short-term, the tariffs against China were a short-term economic tactic. You don't use tariffs forever, okay? You use tariffs as leverage, okay? We had leverage at one point before we shut down our economy. When we shut down our economy, it was for the public good, according to bureaucrats and really smart people who voted Democrat and the Democratic Party. And you look, ladies and gentlemen, the reason that Trump is up is because people understand his last year in office, that had nothing to do with his policies. His last year in office had nothing to do with what Trump was about. That, if anything, Democrats forced people within blue states to do a lot of things they didn't want to do. Like Patrick Bet-David said to Bill Maher, I'm going to vote for some, or he was going to vote for somebody. I think most people want to vote for a candidate who will not force you to do things that you don't want to do. People lost their jobs because Democrats were so apoplectic. They were so apoplectic. And it's like they were forcing, you couldn't even go to the beach and enjoy a sunset or sunrise. What is healthier than that? What is like better for one's, body and soul than that, to look at a sunset? Clinton lost. I'm one of the few people on the planet in 2016 to say that Hillary Clinton would lose. It was me, and in all of YouTube, it was me and Sticks, X, and Hammer, and nobody else. You can go pretty, whole bunch of things that I've said have taken place. But anyway, you look at why Trump is up. People remember a great economy. They remember a great foreign policy. Okay, he's up against 90+% media coverage. 90+% negative media coverage. That's what he's up against. So it's like, imagine if media was apolitical, or at least a little biased. Imagine how many points Trump would be up if you didn't have Late Night or Saturday Night Live always going after Trump. Imagine. How many points do you think he'd be up? If you had a media, like, for example, you had a media not long ago. This was the media not long ago. Okay? This was Paul Ryan. Okay? This was a Politico article about Paul Ryan's workout. By the way, on this channel, you can watch me lift 90-pound dumbbell incline press. Just for no reason other than just me lifting it. I enjoy lifting weights, so that's pretty much it. It's a short on this channel. You can go watch it. If you're new, please hit subscribe. Right, we're on our way to 300,000 subs, so hopefully we'll be at 210,000 soon. But, I mean, do you think they would ever do a Trump workout? Okay. Will you be able to sleep at night with this photo? You're welcome. Okay. So, he had numerous articles written 10 years ago about his workout plan. Do you find this appealing, ladies and gentlemen? Do you find this interesting at all? You should, because media will never do a report on Trump or his vice president's workout plan ever again. They will never humanize or give them any type of positive or interesting coverage. Gee, what does Trump like to do on the treadmill? His golf game is good. Let's look at Trump's golf game. Mr. President, tell us about playing golf. I love it. I can't do it right now, but tell us about playing golf. It'll never happen. But this is the type of media coverage you had at one point. This is the type of media coverage that you had at one point, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? This is the type of media coverage you had. Beyond Glory, thank you. God bless you. Thank you so much. Hal, thank you. Whole Swamp is back saying, wow, what a man. How can anybody take that every day? I agree with you. It's pretty unbelievable. It's pretty unbelievable. So, I agree with you. Will there ever be a Paul Ryan workout article written for a Trump Republican? All 1,200 people. Tell me. Give me your thoughts. Beyond Glory, thank you. Hal, thank you so much. This is important. Okay? Are you ever going to get another Time magazine all pumped up for his close-up? Yeah. Do you think that this would ever take place since 2016? You think this would ever take place all pumped up for his close-up? This is Time magazine. Why don't they do this for Trump? The media is not going to do this ever again. Okay? Will there ever be well, like, for example, will they ever do a report on Trump's golf game? This is a 2012 article in Time magazine about the Republican vice presidential candidate, Romney's VP. Okay? Okay? He was Person of the Year. Runner-up for Person of the Year was a Republican. Time magazine. So my point is that media will never, this media today will never in a million years provide the American public with this type of reporting. A more apolitical, nonpartisan type of look at politics. They don't want to humanize Trump the way they humanized Paul Ryan. Even though he wanted to cut, from a liberal perspective, Trump was much better. Trump didn't want to cut the social services that Paul Ryan did. My point is that they're never again going to be as gracious with a Republican. But let's continue.
Again, you see that, right? And all those things could be fixed to our benefit with strength. To our benefit with.
Hi, Frank.
And Israel would have never happened. 3 years ago, he's actually trying to blame us for the border. How do you do it? I get 2 questions. If you had it to do again, would you do it? Because, you know, in history, they say the president that was treated the worst was Abraham Lincoln, but he had the Civil War, you know, so he had a little Civil War going. Abraham Lincoln. And Jackson was treated very badly, and a couple of others were treated. Andrew Jackson, he was treated very badly, and a few others. And I haven't seen the new list, but if I'm not number 1 over Abraham Lincoln, I will be very disappointed, because I don't believe any president's ever been. And they do that because their policies can't work. This is the only way they think they can win, because we have strong borders, we have strong elections. We have to. If you don't have borders and elections, you don't have a country. And we have strong borders, and you had New Hampshire, she got absolutely beaten badly, and she tried to cancel out Republicans, and she sort of did. She only got 25% of the Republican vote. In Iowa, where she came in a distant third. Remember, we have Ron DeSantis. Now, you know, I've terminated that other name, right? They asked me, they said, what about the sanctimonious? I said, no, I put that into retirement, that name is. So now I call him Ron DeSantis. But Ron DeSantis came in second. He didn't come. She came in third, a distant third. And he got out, and then she went to New Hampshire, and she got slaughtered in New Hampshire, even though she had a lot of Democrats voting for her. Because in New Hampshire, they allowed Democrats and independents to vote. I said, this could be a little tough. And we still won by a lot, by a landslide, I got. Sort of a landslide. And she didn't come to Nevada because they looked at a poll and I was at 97%. She said, I think we're not going to win Nevada. And we have a caucus, and it's not really a traditional thing. It's a caucus. Caucuses can be very good. Caucuses, like Iowa was a caucus. It's was indicted less than me. I wonder what my parents looking down saying, son, we're so proud of you. Never forget our enemies want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom. Never, ever.
See, going back to the Patrick Bet-David discussion with Bill Maher, the only thing a liberal like Bill Maher has, and he's very intelligent, he's one of the great comedians ever, Bill Maher, but the only thing they have is Trump is so deranged, he'll nuke a hurricane. They don't care about the record low poverty, the record highs in household median income, real wages up, a great economy, unemployment low, record lows in poverty also. Like I said, they don't care about the first president in North Korea. See, he was actually the first president in North Korea. But instead of giving Trump respect and, credit, they say he's going to nuke a hurricane. That's the only thing Democrats have. Their apoplectic view of Trump. That's the only thing that they can hold on to. Biden is objectively a bad president, interest rates through the roof. That's why inflation is somewhat, they say 3%, but it's a lot more than 3%. That's nonsense. A lot more than 3% for rent, for food, a lot more for food. You think inflation's at only 3% for food? And so you look and it's like we have record highs in credit card debt. You shut down the economy. It doesn't matter how much stimulus you give to the American people. Everyone racked up credit card debt. The entire country racked up a tremendous amount of credit card debt, and it's at $1 trillion nationally. So, in addition, I think Bitcoin could very likely cause a huge crash. But you look, ladies and gentlemen, and all I can tell you, if you're new to this channel, hit subscribe, be here in November, and every day until then, but be here. You'll get to hear Trump, you'll get to hear, I showed you Congress today. They did vote to impeach him, and then the floor vote, they didn't. So they voted to impeach Mayorkas in the committee. The committee that was needed to send it to the floor of the House, which 3 Republicans completely destroyed. So then they blame the Republican Party losses on Trump. It's like, no, the Republican Party will never get the respect or admiration of any Democrat. Like Liz Cheney has a book that maybe 2 people read, and she lost by 40, 50 points in Wyoming. But Democrats don't like her. They don't respect her. Democrats don't love Nikki Haley. Democrats like Kinzinger and all these people. You think Democrats really? There's even an effort, it was pretty successful actually, to make Democrats like Michael Cohen, who actually is a convicted felon. And then you see who knows if the comments are actually real, but they're like, oh, he's funny, he's a really good guy. It's like, he's turning on Trump because New York prosecutors said if you don't, you will, you'll spend far more time in prison for the crimes you committed. So it's a very nasty political game that's being played, and still Trump is up. Think about how conservative this country has to be for Trump to be up when he has zero advantages, and media and late night and algorithms and comedians are all on Biden's side. Think about how much people actually do love Trump. Hit subscribe to this channel. Nikki Haley's pretty much dropped out. When you're on CNN and Saturday Night Live, you're pretty much endorsing Trump in a very roundabout way. Hit subscribe to this channel. You're out. You're basically leaving the primary and dropping out. And you're in a very bizarre. It's almost as if she's working for him. If we found out that Nikki Haley was working for Trump after all of this, I'd believe it. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. I'll be back tomorrow around 3 p.m. Eastern. be here, 3 p.m. Eastern. If you're new, hit subscribe to this channel right now. If you want to read my writing in The Hill, The Huffington Post, Salon, The Jerusalem Post, The Federalist, other publications, go to hjagoodman.com. To the Patreons, thank you. That'll be below